should be a source of inspiration to have someone like him leading your institute. I think it's important for you to continuously update yourself, knowledge and skills throughout your professional career. And in this context, this inspires me quite a lot, and it is inspired in all the activities that I've undertaken. I've only taken up one idea. So what he said, take up one idea. Make that one idea your life. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, and every part of that idea be full of that idea, and leave all other ideas alone. It's not easy. It's very easy to be jack of all trades, but I think it's important to choose a niche area. So this is a time for you to get a broad view as to what you will do in future. But once you decide to do something, just focus upon it and leave all other ideas alone. I'd just like to show intermittently some of these images. This is the majestic Charminar, our monument in Hyderabad, 400 plus years old, which is illuminated by the foundation in October, which is the International Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I now like to touch upon communication, because this is where I didn't do well when I was an MBBS student. When I got into MS, I did very well. I stood first in my batch. I learned the art of communication, and I improved upon it after going to the UK. Much as communication skills have been introduced into our Indian medical curriculum a few years ago, still we are not good at communicating with patients. And communication, as you will know, is important at every level. When you see a patient, in the outpatient, when you operate, not only with patients, but also with your colleagues, you need to maintain a good rapport with your colleagues. Particularly if you're a surgeon in theatre, you need to be in good terms with your anesthesiologist and with your nurses. I find that we are very bad at treating our nurses. We throw instruments in theatre, some of us. We shout at our nurses. They may not be good. They may not have been extremely good in assisting you, but it's not their fault. It is the training that they don't get. So it's very important to be courteous to everybody. So it's important to have good communication skills, and it's a distinct art, particularly with patients, to talk medicine in the language of the non-medical man. So you see this doctor, I'll be showing a series of cartoons. He's talking away. As soon as the patient comes, he's talking away. And you look at that poor patient, when this doctor is talking, how is he going to speak? He has come to give his symptoms. He has come to give, tell about his troubles. But where is it that he can do? You can see the doctor on the left where he's talking down to a patient. You can see that nervous patient who's sitting at the edge of the chair. And on the right side, you can see the doctor is listening to the patient. So doctor should be a listening physician. It's very important that when the patient comes into your office, you don't start writing investigations. You have to have an eye contact with your patient. You have to smile, a pat, a warm. You have to generate that, rapport that a patient-doctor should have. Not straight away writing investigations. And listening, in fact, is more important than talking, and in giving patients time and listening to them, doctors will find some of the best rewards of medicine. And it's the best diagnostic weapon as well. You will be entering the wards, you will be seeing patients, but please don't talk about the patient's diagnosis and chit-chat when the patient is lying in a very vulnerable state. As I said earlier, the patient is a stranger to you. He or she has come because she has got a problem. So please give that respect to that patient, neither here, and you can see how the doctors and the people around are surrounding the patient. You can see in this cartoon, a patient is lying at the end, right at the end, and the doctor is talking about that patient, putting a sign, how anxious she'll be. Many a times I find patients coming to me with their relatives. The relatives will say, doctor, I want to have the patient outside my room. You please tell me the diagnosis. I say, no. The patient is most important to me. So I tell them, suppose you are in the position of the patient and we tell you to sit outside and we talk about you, how would you feel? So it's very important to talk to the patient and give that patient his due regards. So for you, the patient is more important than the relative. Yes, the relative is also very important, but not the other way around. So when I tell them that I must talk to the patient, sometimes the patient's relatives take the patient away. It doesn't bother me. But to me, I say that if my mother had breast cancer, I say to the relatives that I will relate my mother to your wife or your mother and I will talk to them. But please allow me to talk to them first, not to you. So it's very important to sit down with the patient and talk to the patient at their level, not standing, sitting down at their level. Very, very important. Breaking bad news, we are very bad at it. Particularly in someone dealing with breast cancer on a daily basis and seeing patients for second, third, fourth, fifth opinion, I find that they come, some of them come in hopeless situation. It's not the disease, it's the mind. Cancer doesn't just affect the body, it affects the body, mind and soul. So if you treat just the body, the treatment won't work. There's no science behind this, but the treatment just simply won't work. If you prepare the patient's mind and the relatives and give the patient the mental strength to deal with a tough illness, then yes, that's 50% of the battle won. And that's what, with hand on my heart, I can consciously say that I do ever since I returned back to India. In my mother's name, the foundation, whether we have established or the breast center, counseling is something we take it very, very seriously. Always encourage second opinion. I know it's too early for you. When you become doctors, when somebody comes with a second opinion, don't rubbish it. In fact, encourage them. I encourage my patients to go for a second and third opinion. If the patient doesn't come back to you, don't feel disheartened. Don't feel angry. Patient may have several reasons why they have not come back to you. So be it. Let the patient go anywhere else. This is a country where we have more than 1 billion population. Someone else will come if you're good. So just because somebody has taken a second opinion or somebody wishes to go for a second opinion, don't get angry. Encourage them to take a second opinion. If they want to come back to you, they will come back to you. And finally, I'd just like to end, before I end, I'd just like to say that being a doctor is a great honor and responsibility. I've alluded that a little earlier. And you must also appreciate that you can cure only sometimes, you can relieve many times, but as a doctor, you can comfort always. Even the terminally ill patient, you can comfort, and that is something that you should never forget. This is our Raj Bhavan in pink, the only Raj Bhavan in the country that turns pink in October. I'd now like to just talk about some human values. This is a gentleman, many of you, younger generation, may not know him. He is Professor Kakala Subbarao, who is one of the doyens in the field of radiology. He was a former dean of Nizam's Institute of Medical Sciences. He was a very close family friend, and I'm very fortunate to have him as I consider him as one of my God-sent messengers. He passed away recently. When I was conferred the Padma Award in 2015, he came down to KIMS hospitals to felicitate me. And whilst complimenting my parents and me, he said the importance of human values, courtesy, compassion, honesty, humility, empathy, sympathy, service, and a little bit of sacrifice. He said a little bit of sacrifice, and that is relative. And that stuck to me ever since and even before. I always believe that there's more to life than just being a doctor. It's mundane, just being a doctor. You must have a life outside medicine. And what I have done is I've taken up a charitable initiative, and it gives me immense pleasure and immense satisfaction, because we are all aware that 70% of our population live in rural India. So I've taken the opportunity to adopt one of the remotest villages in our state, and some of the initiatives that we launched there, I went there, sat under the tree with the people in the village and the minister there, Mr. Harish Rao, and asked, what is it you want? It's not what I want to do there. I asked them, what is it that you want? The school children did not have a decent place to have lunch. There is no crematorium in most villages. They walk for 20, 30 kilometers with the dead bodies to do the last rites. Cattle live with them, 100 to 150 cattle live with them. We don't know how privileged we are when we are living here. When we go to the villages, when we live with them, we understand. I did my best to address so many of those things, and I'm not saying that you have to do the same thing, but you can adopt a village and do whatever you can, whatever you possibly can, and that would give you a lot of satisfaction. Our profession is full of stress many times. We deal with life and death many times, and at the end of the day, unless you unwind, unless you relax, unless you detach yourself from your body, it doesn't work as far as I'm concerned. I spent an hour and a half every day in the prayer room. Whether you meditate, whatever you do, you play sports, you do whatever you want, but you must detach yourself from your profession. And that is when you will be able to come back fresh next day morning to deal with life. And success, the final component of my talk. There is your success, there is my success, and there is no absolute success. And I always believe, and I've always believed in that, I never define my success with somebody else's success. Success to me is different, success to others is very different. And I can tell you for a fact that success will be out of reach when your focus is on the competitors. As I said to you earlier as well, rat race. Never focus on your competitors. Focus on yourself. And you excel in whatever you are doing. And that is the only competition that one should have. But most importantly, be kind. Be considerate to others. And to me, regardless of whatever I have achieved in life, all thanks to the grace of Almighty, I always believe that if you're kind, if you're compassionate, and if you're a good-hearted person, that is the person who has achieved success. To me, that is what defines success. Because we don't take anything with us, whether it's the awards, the rewards, the skill, the intelligence, we don't take anything with us. But if you're kind, compassionate, and good-hearted, and you touch lives, they are the people who will remember you and bless your family. You should live, laugh, and love. Live your dream, love your work, laugh out loud. Don't be just a serious doctor, just going to work and coming back. Have your own life. Let not anybody define how you lead a life. But be sincere as a doctor. But what you do outside medicine is none of their business. You will have parents here, and therefore I just put up this slide, which I'm very fond of. To the students, yes, 4 years will go by. You will become, some of you will become great doctors, some of you will go abroad, you will become very rich, some of you might, be the richest doctor in America, but please remember, never forget your mother, never forget your parents, never forget your motherland, never forget the place you were born and raised, and most importantly, never forget your mother tongue. It hurts when children of today speak in English at home. You must encourage your own mother language, mother tongue. It's very, very important. And please remember that your parents are responsible for bringing you where you are today. They have been there for you when you needed them the most. But when they need you the most, when they grow older, when they need you the most, you must be there for them. Please understand that this is very, very important, and you must respect your parents because they're as good as God. And so I'm very grateful for this great opportunity for coming here and sharing some of my thoughts with you. And with folded hands, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude.